It's now good morning in the Philippines, so I say good morning. It's 3 a.m. and I thank Larry here for giving me a coffee a while ago. That's why I'm still awake until now. This is my second time so far for 2012 to have come to Washington, D.C. My first time was last January 22nd, 23rd, when I arrived in D.C. because I testified before the General Systems Preference conducted by the Trade Representative under the Office of the President, testifying on the apparent violations of the government of the Philippines on the trade union rights, labor rights, and they made use of the issue of our union, PALEA, as the basis for charging them. The Philippine government. Of course, the Philippine government then was represented by no less than the Secretary and her undersecretaries. Well, I am Gerardo Rivera. You might have difficulty pronouncing the Gerardo. You call me Jerry. I've been in Philippine Airlines for more than 28 years. In fact, I'm going 29th this coming June. But my 28 years has been snapped out when I was suddenly terminated last September 27 because of the protest action that we staged because of the program of the management of outsourcing that would eventually lead to the massive contractualization of our jobs. I am right now the president of the Ground Staff Union of Philippine Airlines. We called it the Philippine Airlines Employees Association, and we are a registered labor organization with the Department of Labor, and we are also the sole and exclusive bargaining agent representing the Ground Staff Union. And I think PALEA, or Philippine Airlines Employees Association, is and maybe the oldest and biggest local union in the Philippines. But hopefully it will not be extinct in the next few days. The case of PALEA is actually a case of violation of the fundamental rights of the workers. In the Philippines, we have a defined workers' rights under the Constitution. Under our Constitution, Article 13, Section 3, it provides that the state shall afford labor, organized or unorganized, working locally or abroad, the right to collective bargaining, the right to self-organization, the right to concerted actions, including the right to strike in accordance with law. And more particularly, the Constitution of the Philippines provides for the protection of workers to the security of tenure. And in the case of PALEA, this is actually the core of the problem besetting the company Philippine Airlines and the more than 2,000 workers, as I said a while ago. So the core of the problem, the heart actually, is the right to security of tenure, the self-organization, and the right to collective bargaining. Likewise, maybe I could say that the issue of PALEA is also an issue of the defense of the dignity of labor. And also that the issue of PALEA is an issue that protests the government's favor over the 1% of the society. So it would be nice to know and to look back at the history of the labor relations aspect between the company Philippine Airlines and PALEA. Way back in 1998, after the crippling strike of the pilots under the Airline Pilots Association of the Philippines, the company alleged that there was a massive loss of revenues, so that the company had to go through what they call rehabilitation program. But one of the conditions precedent to the rehabilitation program prior to the approval by the creditors, the government, and other stakers in the company is that the collective bargaining agreement between the union, PALEA, and Philippine Airlines shall be suspended coterminous with the rehabilitation program that would run for about 10 years. So from 1998 to supposed to be 2008, the collective bargaining agreement between PAL and PALEA has been suspended. I raised this issue to the extent of going to the Supreme Court, and I opposed it. But sometime in 2001, the Supreme Court of the Philippines came up with a decision saying that if the two parties so agree to the suspension of the collective bargaining agreement, then it is valid. But until today, I do not know if there was such an agreement between the employees of Philippine Airlines and Philippine Airlines management, because then, in 1998, I was the vice president of the union, and I know for no agreement between the PAL and the union that we have signed as the suspension of the collective bargaining agreement. That's why I went to the court opposing the apparent or a very imminent suspension of the collective bargaining agreement. So that if the collective bargaining suspension was for a period of 10 years terminus with the rehabilitation program, as I said a while ago, it could have ended in 2008. However, the company, Philippine Airlines, actually exited the rehabilitation program 1 year ahead of its schedule. It actually went out of the rehabilitation program sometime September 28, 2007. So we could presume from here that the company actually, because of the rehabilitation program, was able to recover financially. And in the airline lingo, we say that Philippine Airlines was able to take off and actually reach its altitude going to its landing. But after the rehabilitation program of the company that could have ended 2008, the previous leadership of the union again entered into an agreement with the management extending the CBA moratorium. We were not the leaders then, because I assumed leadership of the union only this 2010, February 2010, when I won the national election. And that extension of the CBA moratorium was about to end in 2009. But during this period of 2009, sometime August 26, 2009, the management, in a meeting with the leadership of the union, we call that the Labor Management Cooperation Council meeting, laid down its plan. That was the first time so far for the management to have laid down its plan of spinning off or outsourcing. Of course, in the legal parlance in the Philippines, spin-off and outsourcing are two different entities. Spin-off is creating subsidiaries, and outsourcing is pure and simple contracting out of our jobs, which is a violation of our collective bargaining agreement, because part of the collective bargaining agreement of that, which is from the 1995 to 2000 collective bargaining agreement, is that the company is prohibited from contracting out jobs which are being performed by regular, present and future regular employees who are part of the collective bargaining unit of the union.